Your age is just a number. Don't let it hold you back. You're never too young to stand up for what you believe in. You're never too young to make real change. And you're certainly never too young to harness the power of your voice. 2020, a new decade, a new era for youth voice. Sorry. A question for the youth in the room. Can you relate to having an idea and someone older and usually with less wrinkles than you telling you that it isn't good enough? Dismissing it simply because they're older and that means they know better. Sometimes wrinkles reflect wisdom. Sometimes they reflect a lack of Botox. I'm sure that many in this room can also relate. And it's simply because it's all too easy for the political agenda to disregard young people. Because dispersion of financial and political right leaves young people undervalued and without representative influence. However, it's very important that our society hears and protects the viewpoints of young people. Every generation bears its own experience of what it is to be young, but namely an experience only framed by the generation and environment in which they were brought up. Our social, economic and political environment today is rich with opportunities, accompanying the potential for incredible change, but it can only be done if our youth are invested in. Youth voice matters. It matters in persisting to build coherent and fair societies. It matters to inadequately represented opinions, opinions which throughout history have been elevated by proactive, idealistic and sometimes justifiably angry young people. Young people are fiery, young people are brave, and young people matter now more than ever. Let me tell you a story about a shy child who saw a lot of defeat politically throughout his childhood. He stood in every primary school council election, but was never elected. He went to secondary school and he stood in the first school council elections. Everybody decided that he wasn't going to win, but he ended up winning. And he was put forward to sit on the council's local youth council, on which he served an 8-month term, which was meant to be 12 months, but it was cut short because of the parliamentary elections onto the youth parliament. This young person decided to stand forward and stand in them elections, and he was confident he was going to win. He had a good manifesto, he had a good campaign, but others were not. He was elected by a landslide, and here I stand today, offering my voice to the young people who are yet to discover their own. That was my story. And I'm sure there are many amazing young people in this chamber and in this building who have got similar stories. There will be young people across the world who have got similar stories. And for the young people who may not have the similar stories, you can have the same stories. GRETA Thunberg, at 17, may be considered too young to vote, but not too young to have her say, be heard, and influence the public policy agenda. Her methods are courageous, innovative, and ultimately successful. She has played a vital role in raising awareness about the climate crisis and delivering an important global message. She, and others like her, are demonstrating the effectiveness of direct action to get their voices heard and mobilise support by organising strikes for climate change. This youth-led peer-to-peer action has grabbed enough media attention and speaking platforms to amplify youth voice in a way that has never been done before. They're offering to be part of a solution. They are calling on those with the responsibility to do their jobs and stop messing up so they can go back to being children. There are plenty of people in this chamber, as I said, across the world who believe that young people should have a voice. Old and young. Young people who started off on the same tracks as me and have ended up in senior levels of one of the biggest political parties in the United Kingdom. I think this should be something that all young people across the world should have an ambition for. Whether they make it their career or not, it's important that they have their voice and they should stand up for it as best as they can. Benazir Bhutto, a woman who started her political career also as a young person, oppressed by military and religious dictators, who rose to become the first female Prime Minister of an Islamic country, said in a conference here in London I appeal to the youth to come forward and to unite for the restoration of democracy and constitutional rule. I have great faith in the youth, and I know my youth will redeem my faith in them. You, the youth, are our successor generation. To you we pass our torch of leadership. To you we pass the torch of leadership, our democratic vision baptised in the sacred blood of our martyrs. Dear students, dear youth, fight for what you believe in. Fight for democracy, fight for our exploited and impoverished people. Remember, it is better to live like a lion for one day than like a jackal for 1,000 years. I call every young person hearing my voice, today in this auditorium, on the internet and forevermore, to stand up, get up, go out, to fight for what you believe in. Fight for what's right, for yourselves, for your peers, for the generation that the political agenda has forgotten for far too long. Write letters, stage protests, create social awareness. It's time for us to make our mark. Thank you.